Welcome to FL Studio Tutorial for Beginners video 2. This video I'm going to be covering things that I did not cover on the first video, getting more in depth of the software and going over some more technical things to get you to the next level. In this video I will be making a track and you can see how I make the track, and I'm going to explain what I'm doing to it and going over these specific things that I have for this video. Okay, so I have picked a drum loop. Now this tells me that all of these samples are 150 BPM, and default FL Studio starts a project at 130. So now that I have dragged this wave file out, this sample out onto the arrangement, I can change the BPM to 150 and it will snap to grid because it is 150. So now it is on grid. I can click off of it to copy it. So now I have an 8-bar loop of drums. Now for instance, let me find another sample that is not 150. This sample is only telling me that it is in E, the key E. I don't know the BPM. So when I play it, it's set to this speed, so it's completely off grid. It still doesn't sound bad. If I wanted to, I can just move this in a little bit. I'm holding Alt, so when you click this, it snaps to grid. When you click and drag the sample to resize it, it snaps to grid. If you hold down Alt, it's like a free play. It's a free snap to grid. So I'm gonna put that on this bar. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, this space open. So it sounds like this now. So I could do that, but what I'm going for is make it 2 bars. So 1, 2. So this button right here is a stretch option. This is how you stretch. When it's deselected, you can change the length of your wave file or pattern. When you click the stretch, this is how you stretch the whole sample. So you see how it's snapping to grid. It's over the grid. I'm gonna hold Alt, and now I snapped it to this one line. So now it's on beat. So you see how the pitch went down. So when you stretch a wave file, what's really doing is you're slowing the sound down and bringing the pitch down. Because you're stretching it out longer, it's slower. When it's faster, it's a shorter length and the pitch goes up. So to get rid of the pitch change when you stretch anything, you want to double click on the wave file and you'll bring up the sampler. So basically the default mode that all wave files are put in when you first drag them onto a project is this resample mode. So I'm going to hold Control and hit mute to just play this one sound, this one track, and I'm going to hit stretch mode. So I've stretched it and it's in stretch mode, and the pitch is now always going to be normal. The pitch is not going to change with how you stretch it. See how this one's not snapped to grid, so I'm gonna turn this off, drag this out, hold Alt, snap it on the line, and there, now it's lined up to the grid to 150 BPM. So if I put it back in resample mode, the pitch will be stretched out also. If I hit stretch in stretch mode, the pitch will not be manipulated. It's only stretching the sound and not the pitch. So I found this vocal. Hold down Control, mute it.
I can low, I keep a low, yeah, yeah. Pray the Lord and hop in boat. I'm the GOAT.
I'm gonna add the drums to see if it's on BPM.
I can low, I keep a low, yeah, yeah. Pray the Lord and hop in boat.
So you can see how off it is. So I can double click it, change it to stretch mode. It's already on the scale, so I can just click and drag it to the right size. Let's see if it sounds right.
I can low, I keep a low, yeah, yeah. Pray the Lord and hop in boat. I'm the GOAT, beast mode. No sleep, what's the code?
So yeah, that sounds good. Perfectly lined up. If you wanted to find just this one sample's BPM, you can hit this down arrow on all patterns and all WAV files. Hit detect tempo. Let's detect it from 75 to 150. It's at 106. So you can hit yes, and the whole project tempo would be 106 to match the lyrics. Since I have it in stretch mode, it did not change. If I hit resample mode, it would have changed with it. So that's why I like to keep it on stretch mode. I can change these to stretch mode as well. Stretch these back out. So now that I've stretched out these samples, they're on the grid, they're still lined up, but the BPM is 106. So now I've changed the whole project tempo to match this one vocal loop, and I've stretched all the other samples on the grid. So now everything is lined up on the grid for 106 BPM, and this is what it sounds like now.
I get low, I keep a low, yeah, yeah. Pray the Lord and hop in boat. I'm the GOAT, beast mode. No sleep, what's the code?
So now every sample on here, these three samples that I have, they're all on stretch mode. Stretch, stretch. So now I'm going to change the BPM back to 150. Type in 150.
I get low, I keep a low, yeah, yeah. Pray the Lord and hop in boat. I'm the GOAT, beast mode. No sleep, what's the code?
So that's how you snap and stretch samples to grid if they're not the right BPM. Make sure that they're on stretch mode instead of resample mode. Resample mode will stretch the pitch also. Stretch mode will keep the pitch normal. I showed you how to find the BPM of a sample. If you detect tempo, you can fit it to tempo, what it's already on there. You're most likely still gonna have to stretch it out to the grid. If you do the mathematics and see that this is the halfway mark of this sample and it's lined up with the halfway line on the grid, you know that it's lined up just from looking at it, just from the visual. A more technical way of seeing if it's lined up, just turn on the metronome and play it.
I get low, I keep a low, yeah, yeah. Pray the Lord and hop in boat.
See, that was right on point. You can mute it You can solo the track and have the metronome on and nod with your head and count the bars and see if it's hitting exactly on the 1, 2, 3, 4 mark.
I can low, I keep a low,
1, 2,
yeah,
3,
yeah.
4, 1,
Pray the
2,
Lord
3,
and
4,
hop in
1,
boat.
2, 3, 4.
I'm the GOAT.
That sounds good. So now adding to this sampler window, this is the sampler window that holds all your waveforms. You can open up a new sampler in the channel rack. If you open up your plugin window, you can type in the first letter of what you're looking for and it will go through all the S's. I'm looking for the sampler right now. Right here. Enter. So this is just a blank sampler. It has nothing in it. So I can right click and delete it. I've gone over all these controls in my last video. This is your pitch. You can see right here in the hint panel everything that you control and that you tweak, what parameters they're at right here in this hint window. So I'm at negative 300 cents right now. I would like to pitch this down 1.
I can low, I keep a low, yeah, yeah. Pray the Lord and hop in boat.
These are semitones. So this sample is at F minor. So I can bring it down 1, 2 semitones and it would match key E. So now the vocals and this bass one shot are in the same key. I don't know what key the drums are in. The drum key doesn't really matter at first. If you want to get really technical and for everything to sound the same, then you can go through and tweak the pitch of the drum sample to get the same key. But I pitched this down 200 cents, two semitones to match the key for the vocals and the bass.
I can low, I keep a low, yeah, yeah. Pray the Lord and hop in boat. I'm the GOAT, be small. No sleep, what's a call?
So this is time mutilation. You can mess with the stretch with this also. And this is a time knob. We've already stretched it out to fit 150 BPM, so you can also mess with the stretch as well. And these are declicking modes, so when you have two waveforms overlapping each other, see how they kind of fade into each other? So you can have your transient bleeding, smooth bleeding, crossfade bleeding. That's what this is. And if you have marks on your wave file, there's going to be little triangles that mark out where it's scanning the file. You can click load regions to take them off if that's a problem for you. Sometimes it gets in the way, sometimes it doesn't. And then this is your file for the wave. So this, you can load a new file to take place of this. Just load it up in the sampler window. This will show you the file that the sample is in right here. And then you can remove the sample, which I'm not going to do that. And then this is just levels adjustment, small fine tuning, stock sampler window things. And then you can control the panning, the volume, and your pitch range right here. So you can change it to 1 octave up, 12 semitones up. I can play it.
I can low, I keep a low, yeah, yeah. Pray the Lord and hop in boat. I'm the GOAT, be small.
No sleep.
What's a goal? I can low,
I keep a low.
yeah, yeah. Pray the Lord and hop in boat.
You can make it 24, 2 octaves.
Be small. What's a goal? I can low, I keep a low, yeah, yeah.
And this is your mixer track. So you can route it through this as well. So now another thing that I did not cover in the first video is automation clips. So I'm going to bring this back to 1 octave up. So basically what this button is a multi-link to controllers. So you can right click it and it gives you these options. Create automation clip, init song with this position, link to controller. So on FL stock plugins and software, anything that came with FL, you can right click any control, any parameter, and click create automation clip. So what that does, it creates it creates a line that you can manually draw from 0 to 100. Right now the pitch is at 0. So you can go up in pitch and you can go down in pitch. So 0 for this knob is 50% for this automation clip. So if I go down to 40s, 30s, 20s, it will go down in pitch. If I go above 50, it'll go up in pitch. So I can right click this first dot, copy it, and then I can right click to add another dot, and then right click it again to paste the 50% value. I'm going to add another dot right here at 50%, but I'm going to bring the pitch down, and you can look right here in this window. I'm going to bring it down to 25%. So now I'm going to play it, and the pitch is going to go down and back up to 0 with this automation clip. All I do is right click and create an automation clip.
I get low, I keep it low, yeah, yeah. Create a lot and hop in boat. I'm the go, be small, no sleep, what's the call?
So in the first video I showed you the slice tool, so I'm going to slice it right here, right click it to delete it, and I'm going to click it and copy and paste it. So now I have two of the same, for one for 4 bars and the second one for the second 4 bars.
I get low, I keep it low, yeah, yeah. Create a lot and hop in boat. I'm the go, be small, no sleep, what's the call?
So basically this link to controllers is an open multi-link. So basically I can open up Serum, and you have third-party VST plugins that you download that are not with FL Studio that came with the software. So this is outside of FL. So I can't right click and create an automation clip. So what you do is you click this, now it's enabled. Now it's ready to link your parameters. So now that that's enabled, you go to any knob and you can click it or tweak it. I'm just going to click it so I don't change it. And you saw that it read this Serum knob. So you can right click it and create an automation clip with that. So that's how you would create an automation clip with plugins that you can't just easily right click, or any knob, any control that you can easily right click and just create an automation clip. You use this button right here. So now that I've gone over the automation clips, now I'm going to show you what this link to controller window is. This link to controller is basically all the automation clips and all the controls within the project. So basically this is the list of all the controls, which is the same right here. You can click this read structure and clap structure to reset all your files. You can go to current project and go to remote controls and initialize controls. So you see I have my vocal channel pitch. Here it is, my vocal channel pitch. So those are the remote controls and the initialized controls. Basically all automation clips. And you can go to link to controller, wave, the vocal wave pitch is being controlled. So I can, let's say I create an automation clip on channel 3 in the mixer. I can go back to my link to controller window, and there it is, my insert 3 volume automation control. So I can make a completely different automation clip to enable this second automation clip. You want to go to the parameter that's being controlled. You can right click it and go to link to controller. You see how it has the check on it? So that you can tell that it's linked because it has the check on it. It's already linked to a controller. So I can go to link to controller and replace my first pitch automation clip with the second automation clip, and I can hit accept, and now the second automation clip will be controlling the pitch through the link to controllers window, the list of controls. So now it's only going to be going all the way down and all the way up. This purple automation clip is not enabled right now.
Wait a lot and hop in boat. No sleep. Wait a lot and hop in boat.
On the go, be smart.
So now that I've gone over stretching WAV files to BPM and automation clips, now I'm going to show you simple things in this arrangement. You can hold down Alt and scroll the scroll wheel to change the zoom of your whole arrangement. You can scroll with this to change the zoom up here on the song structure. You can use this top right corner right here to change the view if you really need to. All this goes as well with the piano roll. You can hold the scroll wheel down and change the zoom right here on the piano keys. Just hold it down and drag the mouse, change the view of that. This automation clip is controlling this vocal, so I can right click this and I can group it with the above track. So now that is going to be locked and grouped with that. Another cool feature that comes with FL is that you can right click and drag on here. It would only play this selection that you have selected from the song.
On the go, be smart. No sleep. What's your call? On the go.
And you can also select the whole song and hit Control B. Control B is automatic copy and paste. So that just copied and pasted that over. Now I have 16 bars since I had all that selected. Or you can just select one sample and hit Control B, and it'll copy and paste it for you. Alright, so another cool feature with this arrangement is that once I have a full song completed, let's say I wanted to make a VIP or I change something or make a completely different song with all the same sounds, right here is your arrangement files. So I have my first arrangement down. I can clone it, I can rename it, I can add one. So I'm gonna clone it to name it arrangement 2. So now I can add different things. I can make it a VIP. I'm just gonna copy and paste this over so you can see the difference. This is my arrangement 2, this is my arrangement 1. So you have multiple arrangements inside one file. So you can make multiple songs with the same sounds in the same file. But let's say I have a bunch of effects and a bunch of processing and everything that I've done to the song in my mixer track. The mixer will stay the same. So if I go to my arrangement 2 and I wanted to change the reverb or any effect on any sound in my mixer track, it will affect all the arrangements. So if you wanted to change something in arrangement 2, you're probably going to have to make a completely different mixer channel and have their effects on it with how you want for the second arrangement, because it will change the first arrangement effects. Alright, so another tip that comes with FL is a rendering inside the arrangement. So I can have a pattern. I'm gonna make a drum pattern real quick. So I have my pattern in the arrangement and it's just MIDI keys. It's not a WAV file. So one way to change my MIDI to a WAV file is if you right click this and hit consolidate tracks from track 7, start of track 7. So I can hit that, it will render just track 7, and now I have my WAV file of my MIDI. I'm going to mute that, unmute those. So another way to render out MIDI to WAV is if you go to your mixer and let's say my drums are in channel 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. I can hit this record button. I can hold down Alt and hit R, and it will only render that one mixer track. So now I just rendered out only the kicks from channel 1 mixer track. Another way to render out these drums is to render out the whole master track. So right now I only have the drums unmuted, everything else isn't playing besides the drums. The drums is the only thing playing. So now I have the master track enabled to render, Alt R. I'm rendering out the whole, everything that's going into the master track, but the only thing that's playing that's unmuted are the drums. So if I wanted to, I can mute these. I can unmute everything in my song. And then I can render out from the master track, Alt R, start. And now it's rendered out everything in the arrangement, everything combined that's recorded and inputted into the master track. And it's only going to play this one WAV file, and it's everything combined. So that's consolidating and rendering tracks and your whole arrangement. So another important tip for waves and patterns in your arrangement is when you drag out a WAV file, the volume and the velocity of it is at 100%. So it has the max volume and max velocity from a WAV file. It's going to be the loudest it can possibly get. I'm going to drag the same file into the channel rack. I'm going to make a new pattern, loop, set it out, and I'm going to add one hit mark. So when you go to your piano roll, you can click this right here to switch from your drum sequencer to your piano roll. If you click this, you can see these controls right here. You have panning, velocity, release, cutoff, frequency, resonance, fine pitch, panning, volume, pitch. So the velocity is only at 80%. It is not at 100%. So when I play the WAV file, you can tell that it's louder than the pattern. So you would want to go to your piano roll, make sure that this is selected, that you're in the right pattern, in the right sound. You can click this to make sure that it's selected. See this green selection? Turn the velocity all the way up to 100%. So now they're the same volume. When you add something into a pattern, you have the option to control the velocity, and default it's at default 80%, not 100. Now they're the same volume. So that means my drums in this drum pattern are not 100% velocity. My drums right here double click my pattern, bring up the piano roll. I can click the channel rack and bring up the channel rack. So you can see that every single velocity with all these notes are not at 100%. So right now I just have the kicks selected. I'm going to turn the velocity all the way up for my kicks. You can click this and go to your claps piano roll. So click this, and now that the claps are selected, now you can adjust the velocity of those since you're in that pattern. So I'm going to turn the velocity all the way up for my 2 claps. Click my hi-hats. I'm just clicking and holding and dragging all the way up to 100% velocity. Go to my snare, 100% velocity, and now the sounds are at 100% volume. So that's important to get the full sound out of any sample that you drag in and that you use. Make sure the velocity is all the way up if you want the full sound. Another way to adjust the volume, the velocity in all these other controls is this button right here. So I have my kick selected, and then this button right here are the note and velocity and release and fine pitch and panning, mod X, mod Y, shift. You can change the note and you can change the piano roll notes right here, but it's just easier in there. It's just a separate window. You can change the velocity of it right here. You can see that it's changing as well. So you can just click on these, change the velocity. If you want to slowly going up. So yeah, velocity is important. Make sure that your velocity is all the way up if you want the full loudest sound possible. I'm going to show you one tip for organizing and routing sounds to the mixer track. In the first video, I showed you how to route one sound to one channel in the mixer track. You can select this sound, hold Control and hit L, and it will route it for you. Or you can select multiple sounds and hit Control L, and they will route all for you in order. So I'm going to hit undo. When you pick a name and a color for your sound, it's going to stay like that and show up in the mixer like that as well. I'm going to show you a cool trick to help organize once you have a couple sounds and you're ready to start mixing and you want to throw them in the mixer and look organized. You can click and drag and select every single one of them. You can go to this drop down menu to the top left, go to color selected. You can select gradient or random. So for gradient, you're going to have your first color. Let's choose a dark blue, dark purple, and then your last color, a very bright yellow. I'm going to accept it, and it changes the color into a gradient view. So now that they're organized with colors, you can hit Control L and it will route them with how you named them with their colors as well. Thank you for watching the FL Studio tutorial number 2 for beginners. A third video will be coming out to cover other things that I didn't get in this video. I'm going to have separate in-depth individual videos for the arrangement, for the piano roll, for the channel rack, and the mixer. I'm going to get more in depth for specific things, show you more tips and things that you can do with FL. Like and subscribe for more.